Africa is new pawn in the hands of Chinese Communist Party through which PRC attempts to build its economic, political and strategic hegemony in the world. China's arms sales to African countries are fueling conflict in the continent, which has also been the foremost factor in forcing people out of their homes, leading to mass internal displacement. Almost all sub-Saharan countries are in the grip of low and high intensity armed conflicts, with the sub-Saharan region of Africa bearing the brunt of mass internal displacement. Unless countries like China bring a change in their approach to weapons transfer and place conditionalities on the sale of their arms to African countries, the menace of this illegal spread of arms cannot be stopped across the continent. According to Jane's Defense Weekly, nearly 70% of armored military vehicles in all 54 African countries are of the Chinese origin, while nearly 20% of all military vehicles in the continent have been supplied by China. Citing a report by Stockholm International Peace Research Institute (SIPRI), the Janes pointed out that emerging as the fourth global arms supplier, China accounted for 4.6% of total global arms exports between 2017 and 2021. Out of this total global arms export, a total of 10% were with African countries: Ethiopia, Sudan, Nigeria, Tanzania, Cameroon, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Gabon, Algeria, Namibia, Ghana, Burundi, Kenya and Mozambique emerged as the major importers of these Chinese weapons in the last 5 years. Sudan, Nigeria and Angola represent the three largest receivers of Chinese weapons in sub-Saharan Africa from 2016 through 2020. Arms market is so big that according to Amnesty International, the world's top 100 largest arms companies generated 398.2 billion in profit in 2017 all alone because of this arms proliferation. It is estimated that since the 1990s, millions of people have died in the conflagration of conflicts in Africa. As per a study published by the Lancet Medical Journal in 2018, 5 million children under the age of 5 died as a result of armed conflicts between 1995 and 2015. Of them, approximately 3 million were infants aged just 12 months or younger. According to figures published by the Norwegian Refugee Council's Internal Displacement Monitoring Center, of the total 14.4 million people displaced across the world due to conflicts of violence in 2021, as much as 11.6 million or 80% of the total people were displaced in the sub-Saharan region alone. A study suggests that both economic and strategic considerations are present in these cases. If we talk of Sudan, for example, resources play a large part in China's relations with Sudan, specifically in the need of increased oil reserves to accommodate its rapidly growing economy. In the 1990s, China turned to foreign exporters. The China National Petroleum Company, which is called CNPC, saw Sudan's emerging oil industry as an opportunity for investment. The resulting oil corporation between the two countries advanced their economic and political relations. Therefore, much of the weapons sales to Sudan were to gain access to the country's resources, particularly Sudanese oil supplies. China's massive domestic demand for oil also appears to be a consideration for its sales to Nigeria. Nigeria is the largest oil producing country in Africa, and the commodity is a significant aspect of Sino-Nigerian relations. For instance, in 2005, Nigeria's government purchased $251 million worth of military aircraft from China following a series of significant oil deals. Angola is the second largest oil producing country in Africa, and like in Sudan and Nigeria, the commodity is a substantial aspect of Angola's relations with China. China is gradually positioning its arms export as an instrument of its foreign policy to project presence, power and influence in the areas vital to its interests. Elsewhere, Chinese arms sales have helped the country strengthen its relations with several Middle Eastern countries such as Iran and Syria. they have also helped the country to counter the influence of other nations. For instance, Chinese arms sales to Pakistan are in part due to the PRC's desire to prevent Indian regional hegemony in South Asia. China attempts to use influence gained from arms sales to leverage its partners in Africa to assist the PRC in its strategic objectives, such as gaining allies in the United Nations. China can use these allies to help achieve its goals, such as preventing Taiwanese independence and diverting attention from its own human rights record. Take the support of China's policies towards Xinjiang. For instance, in 2019, two coalitions in the United Nations sent opposing letters specifying either support for or condemnation of China's actions towards minorities in the Xinjiang region. The former letter, which proclaimed support for China, had 36 signatories. Sudan, Nigeria and Angola were among these signatories. Sudan and Angola similarly sided with China over its handling of Hong Kong in 2020, including the signing of a new national security law that allows China to limit Hong Kong citizens' political freedom. Angola received a significant 52 million TIV shipment of Chinese weapons in 2020. While Sudan did not receive these arms in 2020, it was the largest importer of the PRC's weapons in sub-Saharan Africa over the previous 5 years. Official relations between Angola and the PRCs began in 1993. However, China was involved in the country before it gained its independence from Portugal in 1975. China supplied weapons to the National Liberation Front of Angola, FLNA, a former insurgent group turned political party. For instance, in 1974, the FLNA received a 450 tons shipment of arms and benefits from the assistance of 112 Chinese instructors. The two countries have remained close economic and political allies ever since. Chinese engagements and supplies of arms in Africa, particularly sub-Saharan countries, are deep, complicated and understudied. Due to secrecy, China maintains it tries to achieve economic, political and strategic goal all the way by supplying arms and help in displacement, but rooting itself in foreign African territories at their own expense. Thank you for watching National Defense. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram.